Penguin Random House Audio presents The Lady Matador's Hotel by Cristina Garcia. Read for you by Gisela Chípe. For Lol and Camille. Their incandescent reliefs, their passages, they are a mournful, single-chorded psalm. Coral Bracho. Chapter 1. The Lady Matador puts on her suit of lights. The ex-guerrilla serves pork chops. The lawyer delivers a baby girl. The Korean manufacturer visits his mistress. The poet buys a cheap wristwatch. In the gym with a colonel. The news. Sunday. But I have in me all the dreams of the world. Fernando Pessoa. Room 719. The Lady Matador stands naked before the armoire mirror and unrolls her long pink stockings. She likes to put these on first, before the fitted pants and the stark white shirt, before the bullioned waistcoat and the ribs-length jacket densely embroidered with sequins and beads, before the braces and the soft black slippers and the wisp of silk at her throat, before the montera, an authentic one she ordered from a bullfighter shop in Madrid, which sits atop her hair, pulled back in a single braid, before her cape, voluminous as a colony of bats. Suki Palacios has come a long way to this spired hotel in the tropics, to this wedge of forgotten land between continents, to this place of hurricanes and violence and calculated erasures. She arrived yesterday from Los Angeles, trading the moody squalor of one city for another, the broken Spanish for one more lyrical. In a week, she will compete in the first Battle of the Lady Matadors in the Americas. Suki is here early to display her skills and generate enthusiasm for the fight. By the time the other matadoras arrive in the capital, its citizens will be clamoring for blood. Every window of the hotel looks inward to a crosshatch of courtyards and fountains, banyans and madeira palms. The pool is visible beneath Suki's window, a glazed and artificial blue. A cascade of bougainvillea brightens the patio. Aviaries with raucous jungle parrots outmatch the mariachis in volume and plumage. The Lady Matador is tempted to submit to the hotel's shielding niceties, to ignore the afternoon torpor awaiting her in the ring. She's grown accustomed to the jeering spectators who come to spit at her and provoke the bulls. They would gladly banish her from the sport altogether. Interloper, scandalous woman playing at being a man. Suki will ignore them. She'll keep a watchful eye on each bull, on the thick hump of its beckoning neck muscle, which, if pierced properly, will lead her straight to its heart. Before the final thrust of her sword will come preludes of ritual and fear. The whip of her red muleta, the stink of the bristling bull as it passes, her pivoting hips as she winds the beast around her in dizzying succession, the reverse slide across the dusty ring, fluttering her cape like butterfly wings, and always the clamorous heat. As she awaits the bull's last charge, sword in hand, in the suerte de recibir, her mouth will flood with a mineral saltiness as if some essential earthly cycle has been fulfilled. The Lady Matador devours the sliced pear she ordered, at great expense, from room service. The pear is unsatisfactory, hard and mealy, but she finishes it, seeds and all. Later there will be time for more agreeable local fruit. Last night, Suki visited the cathedral off the Colonial Plaza. It was All Souls' Day, and the whisperings to the dead rose from the pews, circling in the naves until they hummed with a humid sorrow. Suki trusts in the enigmas of the unknown as she does her own eyesight, or the pumping muscles of her heart. The trick is balancing the measurable known against the vast chaos that defines everything else. In medical school, Suki's professors praised her for her lack of sentimentality, but they underestimated her respect for the imperceptible. In the cathedral, Suki slipped a $50 bill into the offerings box and carefully lit 14 candles, one for every year she and her mother were both alive. Ritual is everything. Her father, a professional dancer, taught her this. 14 candles for her dead mother. Pink stockings first. 1 sliced ripe pear. For extra luck, silent sex with a stranger 2 days before a fight. On Friday, she'd found a suitable partner at an Hermosa beach discotheque. Then, in the shadowed moment before she steps into the ring, Suki repeats 3 words in Spanish and Japanese. Arrogance. Honor. Death. The Lady Matador checks her profile in the dresser mirror. The profile her father insists is her grandfather's, a red-headed Mexican bullfighter who was famous in the 30s. Ramón Palacios lasted 1 season in Spain, billed as El Azteca. He fought in the same rings as the legendary Manolete and Joselito, before a severe goring forced him back to Veracruz with a lame left leg. Suki's father grew up listening to Abuelo Ramon's stories along with the instantaneous revisions by his wife, an upper-class Sevillana he'd seduced at the height of his success. Abuelo Ramon was fond of saying that only matadors, like angels, can tame death and become immortal. Suki fastens her cape and, with a final look around her, sweeps out of the room. She passes a cluster of military men in the hallway, formal in their decorated khaki uniforms. From their uptight demeanor, Suki guesses they're from Chile. The officers are too dazzled by her to speak, fearful, perhaps, that the Lady Matador might turn out to be a disturbingly beautiful man. The elevator doors open to reveal a row of Latin American generals. Suki fights the urge to inspect their medals, pluck a few shiny ones for herself. Instead, she nods briskly and joins them. Conversation stops as the men pause to inhale the Lady Matador's alluring scent of pear and French perfume. "You will fight the bulls today?" The voice comes from the back of the descending elevator in confident, accented English. It belongs to a droopy-eyed colonel, broad across the chest. "Si," Suki answers languidly as the elevator doors open. Then she strides across the bustling lobby of the hotel, where a bellboy whistles for the limousine that will take her to the ring. Garden Restaurant. Dozens of military men from around the Americas, old fraternities of criminals, are making the ex-guerrilla nervous. Today they are her customers, gathered in groups of 7 or 8, fussing over their fried pork chops and eggs. It astounds her that these men can sit around like princes without fear or restraints. Aura Estrada wills her hands to stop trembling as she serves them, as she tries to ignore their conversations about subversives, whorehouses, hidden encampments in the Sierra. What she wants more than anything is to be invisible. Barring that, she'd just as soon cut their throats. The ex-guerrilla crosses herself, trying to tamp down her fury as she waits for more pork chops from the chef. One of the generals sent his back, complaining that they were too tough. "A sus órdenes," Aura said, taking his plate. She noticed him noticing her as she walked away. When the pork chops are ready, Aura discreetly spits on them, working in the saliva until they gleam. Once she'd laid booby traps against scum like him, fired machine guns, threw grenades at passing army trucks. So this is what she's been reduced to? rubbing a...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?